Good to see you all. Thank you all for coming so much. We're going to talk about appreciating the inner self in everyone. In other words, we sometimes have a hard time having proper appreciation for one another. So how do we appreciate that inner self within everybody? Now, sometimes we do a pretty good job of working on it for ourselves. You know, you're always thinking, well, I'm good at this, and I'm good at that, and I'm better than he is, and I'm better than she is at that, and whatever. But how can we have peace in the world unless we can understand our eternal relationship with one another? Everybody wants to have peace, isn't it? We hear that all the time. You know, after Russia and is that the Ukraine? That's the latest thing. Everybody said, oh, why can't there be peace in the world? Why can't there be peace? Well, because we don't know how to be at peace with ourselves and with others, because we don't understand ourselves, nor do we understand others. So, normally for tonight's class, Sunday Feast lecture, I talk on the Bhagavad Gita. And I always encourage people to read Bhagavad Gita. Here's Bhagavad Gita right here. People look at me, I can tell by the look on their face, they're thinking, well, I'd like to read that book and get all this knowledge, but it's so big. Look how big this thing is. I mean, I just want the absolute truth. Do I have to go through this big book to get it? No. Although you should. But we're going to go with one of the Upanishads tonight. The Isho Upanishad. There are many Upanishads, and this one is the Isho. And look at it. It's not that big, is it? Okay? So, everything contained in the Isho Upanishad is in Bhagavad Gita. But let's go to tonight's verse is on the invocation of the Isho Upanishad. So I'll read the Sanskrit and the translation, and then I'll read Srila Prabhupada's purport. And feel free to stop me at any time with a question or a comment or whatever, okay? Is that a deal? All right, I'm going to hold you to it now. You got to make sure you have it. You've got to have at least one or two questions. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamiva Vashishyate. Translation. You're going to see why this book is smaller. This is deep, very nice, very sweet. The personality of Godhead is perfect and complete. And because he is completely perfect, all emanations from him, such as this phenomenal world, are perfectly equipped as complete wholes. Whatever is produced of the complete whole is also complete in itself. Because he is the complete whole, even though so many complete units emanate from him, he remains the complete balance. So much is emanating from God. If it was a material situation, as something would emanate, he would become smaller. Now, there are some beliefs that God emanates the living entities, and he disappears. And he put all this back together, and that equals God. Wrong. Not true. Okay? So, want me to read that again? Yeah, this is interesting. We're going to sell a lot of these. The personality of Godhead is perfect and complete. And because he is completely perfect, all emanations from him, such as this phenomenal world, are perfectly equipped as complete wholes. Whatever is produced of the complete whole is also complete in itself. Because he is the complete whole, even though so many complete units emanate from him, he remains the complete balance. Srila Prabhupada says, the complete whole, or the absolute supreme truth, is the complete personality of Godhead. Realization of the impersonal Brahman, or of Paramatma, the Supersoul, is incomplete realization of the absolute complete. Meaning, some people believe that the Brahmajyoti, the dazzling effulgence of the Lord, that's him, that's it. That's the sum total. You see, some yogis believe that if I go to the Brahmajyoti and I merge in the light, then that's complete liberation. Others believe that if I meditate and go within and find Param Atma, the super soul, the supreme Atma, or the supreme self, then now I have God in complete. And says here, no, that's not true. And we'll explain. The supreme personality of Godhead is Satchit Ananda Vigraha. Realization of impersonal Brahman is realization of his Sat feature, or his aspect of eternity. Sat is a Sanskrit word that means eternal. So when you realize the impersonal Brahman, you've realized the eternality of God. And Paramatma realization is his Sat and Chit features. Chit means knowledge, full of knowledge. So when you get Paramatma realization, you've realized his eternality and his unlimited knowledge. That he's full of knowledge. Still not complete. We're not there yet. His aspects of eternity and knowledge. But realization of the personality of Godhead is realization of all the transcendental features. Sat Chit Ananda, bliss. When we realize the personality of Godhead, we can realize bliss. Happiness. The sweetness. Okay? So first we can realize that he's eternal. Secondly, we can realize he's full of knowledge. And thirdly, we can realize eternal bliss from the personality of Godhead. When one realizes the Supreme Person, he realizes these aspects of the Absolute Truth in their completeness. Vigraha means form. Thus, the complete whole is not formless. If he were formless, or if he were less than his creation in any other way, he would not be complete. The complete whole must contain everything both within and beyond our experience. Otherwise, he cannot be complete. So if God is complete, we cannot deny him vigraha, form. It's not possible. How can this cosmic manifestation, which emanated from him, which is also a complete whole, how can it have some completeness that he doesn't have? If he has no form, he's incomplete. We have form, so we're more complete than God. Something to ponder. When someone could guess.
We really are supposed to interrupt with questions? If, as long as there is an individuation that sprang from Godhead that views itself as complete, then how is God complete as long as there's an even one individuation apart from it, even temporarily?
Because we're emanations. We are part and parcel of him. As it says here, when things, even though the complete wholes emanate from him, he remains the complete whole. In other words, that's part of being God. He can give forth so much, unlimited, without depleting any of him. He's unlimited. You see what I mean?
Yes.
So it's just
and
like...
we're unlimited too, yes, and whole in ourselves.
We are complete wholes too. Yeah. However, we get confused. He doesn't. We're part of his superior energy, but we're also marginal. The difference is, when we come in contact with the material energy, it overcomes us. When he comes in contact of his material energy, it doesn't overcome him. He never gets confused, you see. He doesn't make any mistakes. He doesn't do any of the material things that we do. In other words, we come in contact with the material nature and we think we're part of it. I start to think, I am my body. I am this body. I'm confused, you see. I think I'm part of this temporary body which is going to decay. I'm going to leave it and have to take another body, and it will decay. So I'm confused. But he's not confused. When he comes in contact with the material energy, which emanated from him, he has control over it, you see. Good question. Did you have a question, Tim?
Not a number of questions.
All right. Let me read another paragraph, and then we'll go.
We need a lot of help.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just that.
And there was light. And we see that it's good. All right. So this is interesting. This is Isha Upanishad, Bob. And I'll read the verse for you again, just so you know what we're talking about here. What can you do with these guys? You gotta love them anyway. The personality of Godhead is perfect and complete, and because he is completely perfect, all emanations from him, such as this phenomenal world, are perfectly equipped as complete wholes. Whatever is produced of the complete whole is also complete in itself. Because he is the complete whole, even though so many complete units emanate from him, he remains the complete balance. See, that answers your question. Even though so many complete units emanate from him, he remains the complete. He doesn't lose anything, you see. It's like if you take grains of sand off the beach, and sometime there'll be no beach. Well, he's not like that. He can give forth for eternity. He never diminishes. As a matter of fact, he's ever increasing. So, good question. All right. The complete whole, the personality of Godhead, has immense potencies, all of which are as complete as he is. Thus, this phenomenal world is also complete in itself. The 24 elements of which this material world universe is a temporary manifestation are arranged to produce everything necessary for the maintenance and sustenance of this universe. No other unit in the universe need take any extraneous effort to try to maintain the universe. The universe functions on its own timescale, which is fixed by the energy of the complete whole. And when that schedule is completed, this temporary manifestation will be annihilated by the complete arrangement of the complete whole. By the arrangement of God, when the time limit is up, this world will be annihilated, and another one will replace it. You see, something interesting here. Srila Prabhupada says in this regard that this, you read this paragraph here, the material world is like a perpetual motion machine. Krishna sets this material world in motion, and it starts to work, and he doesn't have to drive it. No part of the universe has to do anything. It's just magnificently going on until he stops it. You see? So it's like a gigantic machine, and it's working all on its own. So now, if we see something like a great airplane, 747, or what do they have now, the bigger ones even, the 767s, I can't keep up with them. I'm on them a lot, but I don't pay any attention to the numbers anymore. But let's say a big 747. It's a magnificent machine, isn't it? It's incredible what it'll do. It'll fly at almost the speed of sound, carry 300 and something people. It's amazing. But without that spiritual spark, the spiritual energy, the pilot, it can't do anything. Without a human being, which is the spiritual energy of God, it'll just sit on the runway forever. It can't do anything. then how can we expect this gigantic machine of the material nature, this material cosmic manifestation, how can it run all by itself without the spiritual energy of the Supreme Lord? You see? Now, some people would like you to believe, well, it just does. Sorry, not buying. Okay? All right, I'll tell you what, let me pause, because I don't want to... Let's deal with a question from Tim. And I think, you had a question? Did you have a question, Tim?
Oh, wait, yeah, she's...
Well, let me get his first, and then I'll get one of his, and then we'll share. Okay.
In terms of the first point you made, does that mean that the entire physicality of the universe or multiverse is all part of the physical aspect of the body of God?
It's part of his inferior energy. It's his energy. We're part of the superior energy. The material nature, the material energy is part of his energy, his inferior energy. So yeah, you could say it's part. But the elements of this material world, earth, water, fire, air, and ether, outer space, they're part of his inferior energy. They're temporary. You see?
But is it part of his body? Is it like part of the physical aspect?
Not of the physical aspect, no. No. Not of his personal body. He has a personal body that he and his body are one. It's all his spiritual energy. You see. Yes, sir.
Oh, she asked, when God creates us apart from Him, and is He diminished, or something like that. But are we created apart from God, or are we not apart from God?
Well, we're apart from God in our consciousness. We're thinking we're apart from Him. You see, we're convinced. Some people believe there's not even a God. So depending on your consciousness, you can be apart from anything. You see, if I have a certain kind of consciousness, I might feel that I'm apart from Tucson right now. You see, I mean, my consciousness could be whatever. So by consciousness, but the living entity is not God. We're made of the same stuff. We are His part and parcel. But personally, personality-wise, we are individual. We are the same substance as Him. But we're not Him. I'm not God.
Yeah, but when
Yeah.
Jiva becomes Shiva, then when Jiva becomes Shiva, then we become part of Him. We become Him.
How does Jiva become Shiva?
Jiva becomes Shiva through the grace of God, through internal spiritual awakening. So there is a hope. I mean, we are different than God, but at the same time, there is a way. God has made a path for us to reach out to Him and be Him.
No.
Yes?
No.
Yes?
No.
Hinduism is full
No,
of
no,
it.
no, 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 no.
Arvinda Ghosh, Raman Maharshi, they all were from Jiva to Shiva.
People want to be.
Well, yeah,
How can the Jiva become Shiva?
well, Jiva becomes Shiva in a systematic way. There are so many different ways to become Jiva to Shiva.
Yatomat Pataka. So many destinations, so many paths.
Yeah,
We're talking about the path to go back to Krishna.
yeah.
So we're not trying to go become Krishna. We don't want to become Krishna. We want to associate with Krishna. And
And so you could view yourself separate forever?
well, there never was a time when we were joined. I mean, when you say separate, what do you mean?
If I am only hoping to aspire but never become something, how could you be anything but be yourself
But you
separate?
already are something. You're an eternal living entity.
I know, but I am. I do not view myself as separate. I do not view myself as always aspiring, never hoping to become. Don't
But
suffer that.
what is it that you want to become? That you're,
I don't want anything. I have already become.
I
My
mean, what is
question
it that you have become?
I just am. There's nothing else to it. Everything else is wordplay. some of us have become, and then come to assist others.
But become
Still
what?
aspire.
Become what?
That's
I'm in
still a question
existence.
for not being there yet.
I'm in existence, but so I could say I've become. So I've become, but now I want to know what am I?
No, the monkey mind wants to know what. Those who have become simply are. There's nothing to do.
Well, we've all become. I'm here. I'm present and accounted for. The tree outside has become. It's a living entity as well, just like
But the
me.
tree did not ask what. The tree did not ask what it has become.
Because it doesn't have the intelligence. It doesn't have the developed,
It does not
the
have the monkey
developed
mind to
mind.
wrestle with that. That is the only.
Yeah, but just because someone has the realization of their eternal, loving, servitor relationship with God doesn't mean they have a monkey mind. It means they have a human mind. The monkey, I had a veterinarian tell me one time about animals. I asked, do they think that they are, like if you have a cat, does a cat think that you're a cat? And they said, no, the cat thinks it's a human being.
The monkey mind is actually a figure of speech that's an insult to a monkey. The monkey is much too wise to sit around and contemplate his own existence. He just is.
Well, no,
It's a figure
it
of
takes a
speech.
human mind to contemplate his existence, and not only that, by contemplating my existence, I want to contemplate what is my next existence. That's the important thing. Because there is the factor of death. I have not yet overcome death of this body. I don't have to overcome death of my soul. My soul is eternal. It always has been. So therefore, if this body is going to kick me out someday, if I have to leave this body, a human being separate from an animal, monkey, will wonder what will my next destination be and how can I control that? Is it within my control? What are my choices and where would I like to go? Rather than just sitting and picking fleas off of himself and the other monkeys around him. And see, that's just it. It is monkey consciousness. The monkey just believes he's a monkey. That's it. Boss.
He
Finish.
just knows he's a monkey as Godhead knows. And that is all.
Please repeat.
It sounds more similar to what Godhead experiences than our confusion of duality. To just know that you are what you are.
Yeah, but what are you?
I am.
You're not answering my question. We're
I am. I have.
But see, you're saying I am. I'm saying you am what?
Right.
I am the soul who cannot be burned, who cannot be wet, who cannot be dry.
There you go.
Who can be that.
I'm the eternal soul. I cannot be burned by fire, withered by the wind, pierced by an instrument. I cannot be destroyed in any way. That's what I am. I'm an eternal soul. So now, what is my activity? What is my destination? What do I want for my destination? Before I can figure that out, what are my choices for a destination? This is human thought. This is not monkey thought. Monkeys are satisfied being monkeys. If you're satisfied being a human, then fine, stay human as long as you can. But this human form of life will be taken away from you. It will be devoured by time. There will be a time when your attitude towards death and your am existence will change. Mark my words. I promise you, this isn't. This is no laughing matter. We have a problem. We're eternal living entities, and we're on a journey. Right now, we're traveling in this vehicle, and we don't have any idea what our next destination is. Destination is unknown, and I don't want to do this again. So, at the time of death, remember these words, if you will.
I have already done.
Well, I have too, but I don't want to do it again. I don't want to do it again. I've died billions of times, and I'm tired of it. I want off the merry-go-round. I'm finished. It's over. So I'm praying to Lord Krishna to restore me to my original constitutional position. I want to go back to my home where I came from.
Why are you here now then?
I'm here now because I was envious of him, and I wanted to strike out and see if I could become him. And so I find myself in a world that's full of people who have the same attitude. They all want to become him too. Everybody wants to be the center. Everyone is thinking, I'm so
I
special.
do not want that because I do not lack that.
I'm sorry?
I do not want that because I do not lack that. It is very simple.
You're obviously far more intelligent than I am because I can't follow you. You've got, your pay grade is a lot higher than mine. So, I can't follow. So, time for one more quickie. Timster, anybody else? I mean, I keep calling you Tim. Why do I call you Tim? I saw Tim. Philster. Philster.
This is a really mundane question because
Well, maybe I've got a very mundane answer for it.
But what is the origin of the Upanishads?
The origin of the Upanishads is they're part of the Vedas.
Mm-hmm.
The Vedic literatures are vast. And they're penned by Krishna himself in the form of Veda Vyas.
In form of what?
Veda Vyas. Srila Vyasadeva. Vyas.
And when did he live?
5,000 years ago. Until then, the Vedas were spoken. But there came a time when it was necessary to write them down.
Well, one thing, sorry. Once a person reaches a certain state, a thought, he proclaims, I'm the universe. Brahmasmi.
Aham Brahmasmi.
Aham Brahmasmi.
Aham Brahmasmi.
I am the universe. It's not with ego, it's with the knowledge, as you mentioned, you gradually evolve until you really know the God, until you are one with the God. When that stage comes, it's not with ego. I didn't mean that, hey, I want to be God like that with ego. You have to share your ego. But it does, you do reach that stage when you can proclaim, I am Brahmasmi, I am the universe. Now, when
It doesn't mean universe, but I see what you mean.
Right.
It's just like Lord Jesus Christ said, I and the Father are one. Now, he didn't mean that we're the same entity. Even Christians say, isn't it, Father? God the Father, God the Son. Okay, how am I one? Because my every thought, my every wish, my every action, my every desire is aligned 100% with Him. I have no separate desire other than pleasing my sweet Lord, you see. So at that point, at that consciousness, because you wouldn't think anything that God wouldn't think. You wouldn't desire anything that He wouldn't desire, and you wouldn't do anything aside from Him. Then it can be said you are one. But simultaneously, you are yourself. It's just like a beach. If you fly over a beach in an airplane and you look down, it looks like one big thing. You see the jungle, and then there's this big yellowish white thing. But if you get down there on the beach, it's some big thing. It's just a bunch of little things together. So there is the beach, but it's made up of little things. But God is not made up of us. You see what I mean? We come from Him, although we're part and parcel of Him, but we still maintain our individuality. We're part of the beach, but we're our own individual personalities. Why? So that we can have a relationship with Him. You see? Yes?
The Veda says, Aham Brahmasmi means I am spirit soul, I am not
Spirit soul.
Physical matter. But God is not Brahma, He is Parabrahma. So He is higher than us. There is part and parcel. There is Parabrahma. There is the word Parabrahma also to denote the God in Vedas.
Aham Brahmasmi doesn't mean that I am
God.
I'm the
It doesn't mean I am
universe.
God, I am a part
I'm
of God,
spirit.
I am a spirit soul.
I'm spirit.
Yes. I am not the part of this material world which is
Yeah.
divisible, but He is Parabrahma. Arjuna also accepted in Bhagavad Gita, Parabrahma, Parabrahma, Pavitram Paramaparam, like that. Glorified God in that way.
Yeah.
So we cannot become one with Krishna, not God.
We can want to all we want, but that won't fix our dilemma. Wanting to become Him.
No, I was mentioning that he's so much infinity with the love that he welcomes you, you know, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
The whole path, it's there open and you have to walk by that. And then you reach a state, then you get proclaimed, I'm Brahmasmi. There's no going to that.
Yeah.
I'm just mentioning about the grace, the love of the God. It's so immense.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
he just wants you now to come over there. And
Because of His love.
Right.
He wants your embrace. All right, so now it's time we better wrap it up. Our Commander-in-Chief, Mother Sundamani, will chastise me severely if I go over like I often do. So let's wrap it up, and thank you all for coming. It's a pleasure to have you. And if you like, we can talk more over Prasadam. Okay, Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.